What's going on, reefers? Blaine here. In last week's video, we checked out Javier's unbelievable reef tank and kicked off our trip down south in Miami. But in this week's video, we're gonna head just down the street and check out an unbelievable reef system made by Itsander. Let's get into it. Well, continuing our series down here in South Florida, Itsander, thank you so much for having me over.
It's all mine.
We were just recently over at Javier's house, one of your reefing buddies.
That is correct.
So we're here now today checking out another amazing tank. We're gonna do 1 foot shorter this time. We're at a 9-foot tank, correct?
That is correct.
So what is the size of this system, gallons-wise, and all the dimensions?
It's 9 foot long, 28 high, and 28 deep, for a total of 365. And with the sum, which is around 100 gallon, we're talking about 440, 450 total volume.
So 450 gallons in total volume, a nice big size of water volume.
Yes.
When you're looking at this tank, obviously there's a ton of sticks. Everybody's gonna see that in the video. What was your end goal? Were you thinking an SPS dominant tank? Were you hoping for a mixed reef? You have a slightly mixed reef started now, but
80-20.
Okay, 80-20.
80 SPS and 20 LPS.
Was it always in mind? Did you have SPS right off the start?
Always.
Okay, so you
SPS.
weren't mixing in some soft corals and then flopping them out?
Day one.
Okay.
This is the fourth tank that I possess. You know,
Okay.
I start with a 54 corner tank almost 10 years ago. I realized that I fill it up too fast. I jumped to a 60 gallon thinking that 6 gallon
Would be enough.
might be enough. Definitely not. You know, that one I fill it up with seahorses. And there was a moment that I was having so many babies, the Saturdays, which I usually work on those days. And my wife was calling me, baby, another of this guy is giving birth. And I have to get rid of that in less than a year. And I jumped to a 125 gallon inside the wall. I break the wall, I stick it inside, and we're able to sell the house and bought this one. And the moment I opened the door and see the property, I saw the wall, I said, that's the place. And we were able to order this with Karen and Bob.
So how old is the tank now at this point?
It's almost 4 years.
Okay, almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years.
Okay, so did you go through the struggles at the beginning?
Yes.
Or, you know, a lot of people, I've talked about it in a lot of our videos, you know, that first year of keeping reef tanks is
Terrible.
brutal, right? I mean, you go through every single kind of pest allergy, you deal with all kinds of different pests,
Yes.
and that's where a lot of the turnover happens, right? There's so much turnover in the reefing hobby. People come in, they start a tank, they have an issue, they usually leave. But this is a great example. Not many systems out are over 2 years old, over 3 years old. At 4 years old, you know, you're getting to that point where you're really making a mature system. You have some beautiful fish in the tank. What was the idea in mind when you were choosing out your fish? Do you have any utilitarian fish that you're looking at? I see the clownfish, the butterflies, the harlequin tusk. You have a mixture of amazing
One
fish.
of my favorite is the harlequin tusk.
The harlequin
and
tusk.
The marine beta.
The
That
marine-
marine beta, I've been having it for the last 8, 10 years.
So a lot of your fish are older fish, correct?
Not all of them,
Okay.
but I could say like probably 7 to 8 fishes. That's what survived from the older.
The other systems.
Yes, but most of these are brand new. This guy, the rabbit fish, Javier gave it to me as a present. It was small, not even an inch.
Okay.
Take a look at the size.
I know,
almost
it's
5,
huge
6
now.
inches. Yeah.
A lot of the fish look super healthy, nice and gut loaded. They're
Yes.
super happy. I love the swallowtail angelfish. That is beautiful. If you had to choose, other than your marine beta and your harlequin tusk, which are some of your favorite fish in this
Anthias.
system? Anthias, okay.
And yeah, they bring so much color to the tank, and the way they move in schools, it's, you know, even if you don't see the corals, even if you don't have corals, they bring so much happiness to the tank.
They do. They bring a lot of really nice colors,
Yes.
and it's always really cool to see the transition of the female to male.
Yes.
Very cool to see in a tank. You know, a lot of these Anthias, you know, they're hermaphrodital. They'll be females to begin with, and then over time they'll shift over to the male, and that transition period is just unreal to see the color
Yes.
changing and all that. Do you see any issues with the butterfly fish at all in the tank? Are they pecking away at anything?
No, they here and there they just
Right.
pick a little bit, but it's so big that since God is so big,
Right.
that I only have 4. I think it's way too much, but The moment I see them start peaking, it's, oh, do I let the coral die or do I take the fish out?
Right, at that point it's choosing whether or not you like your corals more or the fish more.
We have to see what happened at that moment.
Right.
If it happens.
Your corals are at the point now, they're so big. We talked about it earlier. Mark Hatter, he was another tank tour we did. He has an emperor angel, regal angelfish, some pearl scale butterflies, fish that you don't normally see in a tank. I feel the same thing with these, these butterfly fish. Not everyone's gonna keep them. Big enough coral colonies, you're not gonna have all that picking and then they won't die off too rapidly.
That's my goal. They keep growing. I take care of them as much as I can. I feed the tank plenty of time daily, so I don't get to that point where the corals needs to start picking them. The fishes need to start picking on corals.
For sure.
Oh.
I like, you have some active fish, but I like there's some seclusive fish. You've got the marine beta. I saw the rainbow basslet in the back.
Yes.
You've got some really nice wrasses running around. There's a little 6-line. There's some other ones in here. The 6-line and the other wrasses, are those your utility fish? Are you using that for pest control?
100%.
Okay.
I have 2 Milaneros and 2 6-line. They keep the flatworm because it's hard.
It is.
To not have flatworm in your tank. Not because you don't want it, it's because every time you buy a coral from a local fish store, in a show, or even by internet, even if they said pest free, it could come just as a mini baby in the water. And one, it's more than enough. They reproduce like the hundreds.
At Top Shelf, we have this very rigorous quarantine system for our coral facility where you have to go through system after system after system because, like you said, pests are just so prevalent. I mean, and they, even after the initial quarantine system, there's bound to be more. So we have a many tiered level of getting to that final tank where they're gonna be sold out and sold to hobbyists. But it's true though, it's really hard to get a system started up from the ground up and not bring in all the kinds of different things involved. But it's cool to see, you utilizing the natural method and cleaning them up with the different fish and things like that.
Yes. That is.
What are you doing for cleanup crew in here? I see tons of blue legs. What else are you doing for cleanup crew?
I have a couple of sea hares and pretty much an Ojiblenny that is always picking on every piece of the glass and rocks. But hundreds of blue leg hermit crabs. Hundreds, as you can see.
Absolutely.
They're everywhere.
They litter the sand bed for sure. You see them even in between some of the sticks. They're up in there grabbing stuff. I love what you did with the back wall, planting some of the tabling acropora on there.
Growing and growing.
Kevin, our farm manager, one of the other co-owners of Top Shelf Aquatics, he has preached that recently on a lot of our videos, is that sometimes people forget that naturally these corals are, tabling out from the rock shelf. They're not just gonna be growing upwards. So kind of getting them mounted on that back wall will initiate that really nice tabling effect. There's a lot of them here in the tank where they've gotten some really good coverage and they're really starting to table out nicely. I love the way they look. Overall though, when you're talking about your tank, when you're looking at maintenance, what are you doing for maintenance on the system? We talked about an automatic water change. Yes. How much are you doing on your automatic water changes?
It's like 120 gallons a month.
Okay.
Like 8 gallons every other day. So, but everything is set up. So I just watch and enjoy.
Right. Keeping that hands off, that same idea, doing the best, right. Keeping as much as you can away from the tank and your hands out so that way you're enjoying it. I feel like
you put your hand inside the water, the better the system will stay.
I've heard that a lot. People talk about it all the time, that we tend to make it harder for our reefs to have success by getting in there, moving things around, being involved. People tend to forget how oily and all the different things that we have on our skins. I mean, you go and you fill up at the gas station, you have no idea if you're getting petrol on your hand, and then you go and immediately get home, see, like you saw, maybe a frag falls over or something, you immediately get in there and that could be a big issue for your tank.
One thing that happened at the beginning with me is that I was gluing the small frags. They don't grow. So I break it, I put it in some other place. I learned that the hard way. So if you're gonna glue it there, just figure it out where you should go. Ask the people who sell it to you or trade it or gave it to you as a gift. Where do you have it? Low, medium, high? Put it where he recommended and leave it there. It will start growing maybe in a year, 6 months. You never know, but don't move it, because if not, you will always have.
Corals are so adaptive. I think that's something people tend to forget, is that they are I mean, they're corals that we're pulling from the ocean, right? We're bringing them into our tanks at home. And obviously we're not getting all the right nutrient levels, the phosphate levels, all these things that the ocean can bring.
Mimicking the ocean is almost impossible.
Exactly, mimicking the ocean. We're trying to do it, but it's really difficult to do. But if we're able to get just a slice of it,
yes,
it turns out beautifully and it's come together so nice. Let's talk a little bit about some of the equipment you run on the tank. I see some MP40s, 60s. Yes. What else are you running for equipment?
Well, there's a calcium reactor on the bottom.
Okay.
Huge Nios 300 skimmer, cold washer, just to daily, through the ATO, always, every hour, it gives me like 5 minutes of some sweet cold washer.
Right.
To keep those SPS. And also reactor it's inside.
Okay. I saw you have the Trident, the Apex, and all that set up.
I do have the Trident, as part of the Apex system.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been there forever. I think I was the second one to get it with Karen.
Wow.
An exotic aquarium.
Okay.
Per boat. Years ago. I was the second one to get it when it came up to the market.
That's the second thing you've talked about now. So now we've got the Trident, and then we talked a little bit about your yellow tank. Your yellow tank's one of the first from Biota, right?
It is.
One of the first generational ones. Very cool. I think that's something in this hobby we are so excited to see happening, is the increase of aquaculture that's happening. There's lyre tails that are starting to be made from Biota. There's mandarins, there's the marine beta, there's the basslets. There's so many fish that
there's a Cuban basslet inside.
Okay, yeah, there's just so many fish that we've been able to start aquaculturing ourselves, not having to pull from the ocean. It's an amazing thing, and at the same time we're making much more hardy fish that are ready for the aquarium. You mentioned kalkwasser. You're dripping kalkwasser. Is that for your pH, trying to maintain a nice high pH level?
I do not have the sump outside as Javier, Cuban reefer.
Right.
So his pH is always over 8.3, 8.4. That's crazy.
I saw it on his Apex
mine. It's super high.
Helps having all that fresh air, right?
That helps a lot. So everything is enclosed here, as you can see. So to raise up a little bit the pH, I drop cold water every hour, 5 minutes.
Okay.
And anyway, evaporation is so huge here that it will help. There's nothing wrong about putting 5 mils of water with cold water every hour.
For sure. Are you dosing anything else, or is that the main thing you're dosing?
I dose AquaPower, and I dose Easy SPS.
Okay. Do you like the Easy SPS? I've seen
I've been using it for easily the last 2 years.
Okay.
Easily on a daily dose. I dose like 12 mils a day, every 2 hours. During the day, not at night. At night, we know that they all open, and the pollen station is amazing, but that's the moment they eat. So I want to see what I don't see at night.
Yeah.
Because I'm sleeping. I want to see it during the day.
During the day.
So I keep feeding them as much as I can.
Gotcha. So basically trying to train the corals to start actively have those feeding responses during the daylight period. You made a really good point. Sometimes people forget that you could really be feeding and dosing a lot of stuff during the nighttime cycle, because that's when they have all their feeder tentacles out. Staying on the same topic of feeding, what are you feeding the fish? How are you keeping everybody happy in here?
To be honest, I have an automatic feeder that works 2 times a day, and I feed frozen or live food when I can get it on the local fish store every afternoon.
Okay.
Like at 5 when I arrive, and then like at 9, and that's the last time I feed.
So about 3 feedings a day, roughly.
4, 2 pellets, 2 times pellets, and then in the afternoon 2 times more. So
2 times more. Okay. Gotcha. Beautiful. You've got your LEDs running up top. How long are you doing your lighting schedule for?
I start at 9:30 in the morning, and they go down at 9:30 at night.
Okay. So nice 12-hour period.
Yes. 100%.
Beautiful. So for lighting up top, you've got the Radions. You said you had some strip lighting as well. What else are you running?
We have 7 Radions, generation 5, and we have 2 lines of Reef Bright HO on the front and on the back.
Very nice.
They work like 5-6 hours a day, just the Reef Bright.
Any other main things on the equipment? How many power heads do you have in total?
We have 5.
You've got
we have
a
2
couple
MP60
on the back. Okay.
And 3 MP40s on
Gotcha.
the back.
Do you like having them on the back wall? Do you think giving that extra flow outwards is a good vision?
I just don't want to see them.
Okay, yeah, keeping everything kind of secluded.
Secluded, all the coral will take when they start growing,
right.
I hardly see it. So, and I love them because they're black, the back is black, they're
blend in super nicely. So I'm loving the system overall. I love the fact you got the huge pile of sun-kissed bounce. You've got big LPS. You've done an amazing job with this system. When you're looking at it, and I've asked every single person whenever I get these talks, what is a piece of advice you would give to a reefer starting out or getting into the hobby? What would be a piece of advice you'd give them if they're looking at getting into saltwater?
I think that do not get frustrated for the first 6 to 8 months, because you will.
Right.
That's for sure. You know, don't throw all your money the first month, the second month, because you're gonna throw it away anyway. It's just put it on top of the good top, turn it on and let it burn. You have to leave the system to settle and cycle, and that takes a month. The bigger,
The better.
the better. Definitely.
We've heard that before in many different ways, right? So I love when you walk into this house, the first thing you see is the reef tank, right?
Yeah,
that's
the welcome.
It's a living piece of art, you're right. It's a beautiful welcome to anyone coming in. I think you've done an absolutely amazing job with this tank. I want to say thank you so much for letting me come by. This is so fun. I can't wait to showcase it a little bit more, show everyone all the amazing corals. If you guys have hung out all the way till the end, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future uploads.